Today, I want to talk about what I call the illusion of reasonable doubt. Now, I know some of you are attorneys or work in the legal field. Most of you probably do not. However, I am sure the vast majority, if not all of you, have seen movies with criminal trials. You've watched Law and Order. You've seen television shows with criminal trials, so that you know in a criminal trial, the Commonwealth here in Pennsylvania, the prosecution has to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Before I talk about the illusion, though, let me explain to you what reasonable doubt is. In any type of trial, this is true of civil trials, family law, custody hearings, criminal trials, one party has a burden of proof. Well, what does that mean? That means the moving party, or the party bringing the case, and in this case, a criminal case, it would be the prosecution, the state. They have the burden of proof. They have to put forward evidence and convince the jury that what they are saying actually happened and or is true. All right, so they have the burden to show evidence to the jury. Now, there are different burdens of proof, right? And reasonable doubt is just one of them. There's in certain hearings, there's what's called a prima facie showing, or you could call it probable cause, where all the party has to do is show maybe 1% of evidence. 1%, the finder of fact or the jury has to be 1% sure that what happened did happen, right? That's prima facie, or perhaps even probable cause. Then you can move to a higher standard, which is preponderance of the evidence. What is that? Well, you just have to be more than 50% sure that what that party is saying is true. So that could be 51%, all right? And that's a lower burden. Then you have clear and convincing, which some attorneys say is 60%, and then you have the highest burden of all, the burden of reasonable doubt, which we can't say this in a trial. I can't say this in a trial. But the way I define it, and I talk about it with other attorneys, is you have to be about 80% sure, right? So the attorney bringing the case, the prosecutor, has to convince the jury, and the jury has to be 80% sure that the prosecutor's story is true, that it actually happened. Once they've reached that 80%, it is beyond a reasonable doubt, all right? And so most people, when you watch these shows or you hear about reasonable doubt, you say, oh, well, that benefits the defendant, the person being accused of the crime. That's correct. The person being accused of the crime has the benefit of reasonable doubt because the defendant, the accused, doesn't have the burden of putting on any evidence at all. They have no evidentiary burden, no burden of proof on the defense, unless they use certain types of defenses like self-defense, all right? But that's a story for another time. So when the way the law works, all right, in criminal cases, and this is all constitutional law, when the defendant walks in there, all right, they have the presumption of innocence. Also, and that's constitutional as well, where the jury is supposed to say, when they see this person come into the courtroom accused of a crime, you are presumed innocent until proven guilty, and then that proof of guilt must be beyond a reasonable doubt. 80%, 80%. And, you know, that sounds great, right? And when you read it in court opinions and you read it on papers or people talk about it, you're like, oh, we have reasonable doubt. We have the benefit of reasonable doubt when I'm facing my clients. What I'm telling you today is, in my opinion, it's largely an illusion. It's largely an illusion. And let me tell you why. Put yourself, and perhaps some of you have been on juries. Put yourself in the role of a juror. All right, you get your slip in the mail, you come in on the day of your jury duty, the two attorneys and perhaps the judge ask you some questions, and you are selected to sit on a jury at a criminal trial. Now, when you're going through that process, when you're picked and when you're being asked questions by the judge, and then you're sitting with and meeting the other jurors, all right, you're saying to yourself, why am I here? Why am I here? Right? And what a juror is going to assume is, I wouldn't be here if someone didn't commit a crime, right? I wouldn't be here if someone didn't already do something bad. So that's going to be in their mind. Now, when they go and they sit down and they're instructed by the judge about reasonable doubt, and perhaps the attorneys will bring it up, okay, it can push back. I believe it pushes back that assumption a little bit, all right? But any juror who's walking in there is going to think this person who's accused did something bad, all right? And reasonable doubt and what comes out of the judge's mouth, in my opinion, is largely an illusion. So when we sit here and we talk about 80%, all right, I would say no, it's lower than that. I would say that when a person is accused of a crime, and this goes to psychology, not what's written in the law. All right, a person is accused of a crime and a jury comes in and they see them for the first time. That person's already at minus 20. Okay, they're already at minus 20. The jury's already thinking he did something wrong, because why else would I be here? All right, and this goes to my next point, and that is how important it is. How important it is that the defendant sitting there at a jury trial or a judge trial, okay, any type of trial, looks good, right? If they look at your person and you know, I just got to put this out here. I mean, people, I got nothing against tattoos, but if you got face tattoos and neck tattoos and you got tattoos over here and over there, that isn't helping. That isn't helping. Okay, the jury walks in already thinking you did something wrong or the defendant did something wrong. Then they're going to sit there. All right, the judge is going to instruct them on reasonable doubt. But we all know human beings are human beings. They're going to look at this person. They're going to eye them up. All right, you need to look good. All right, males need to have a nice crisp shirt, a suit, a tie. Okay, females, you know, wear a nice jacket, whatever it is. You got to look good sitting in that courtroom, because they already presume. We talk about the presumption of innocence and reasonable doubt. No, they're already presuming you did something wrong. And then me, as a defense attorney, I have to wash that out of them. I have to wash that out of them. Now, I like reasonable doubt and the presumption of innocence because these are tools. These are tools for me as a defense attorney that the law has given me to use to benefit my client, okay? I don't believe they function how they're supposed to. We say 80% and you're presumed innocent. No. But these are tools, so when the jury comes in there, my client's at minus 20, I can start using these tools to pick away at the jury, right? To get rid of these assumptions. So I like them being there. However, I largely believe that reasonable doubt is an illusion, okay? And when you walk in, you're starting at a minus. My clients who are accused of crimes are starting at a minus, and I got to get my shovel out and I got to dig them out of that hole. And reasonable doubt is part of the shovel. It's part of the shovel, all right? And the presumption of innocence is part of that shovel too. Let's say it's in sections, and those are tools that I can use to win the case. However, I'm under no illusions, okay? This is one of the other thing, you know, when someone's facing trial and they're accused of a crime, the jury's not allowed to know that if they're in jail or incarcerated, right? If they're out on bond, then they come in, you know, the defendant sits in there and leaves like a regular person. But if they're incarcerated, okay, they may be sitting there at the table, okay, with shackles on their legs. Right? And we have to, and jury trials have been overturned if the jury sees someone in cuffs or in shackles, okay? It changes the whole analysis. And that's why I say again, what's reasonable doubt going to do when a jury sees somebody and believes that, or knows right now that they are sitting in jail? So I like reasonable doubt. I like the presumption of innocence. It's a tool that I can use. Another tool I can use is for someone to put their clothes on, look real nice, have a very nice and professional demeanor during a trial. Keep that in mind, but let's not be under any illusions. Let's not be under any illusions, all right? You're probably walking in behind the 8 ball, and this is one of the reasons you need a smart attorney who will do everything that they can and put in the work to help you win your case. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I just wanted to give you a quick rundown on what I call the illusion of reasonable doubt, though I still like reasonable doubt. If you like my content, I'm Joe Pometto, Joe the lawyer, a practicing criminal defense and general practice lawyer here in Pittsburgh, PA. Go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, and share. Sign up for my email list. These are all free ways to support my show. Keep me coming back and making more content. You let YouTube know you're watching. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this bit of legal information. Thank you.